There was once an object so holy that a single touch could kill a man, so powerful that it shattered city walls, toppled the gods of empires, and carried the very presence of God across the earth. And then, after 1,000 years at the center of a nation's faith, it simply vanished from history and was never seen again. This is the story of the Ark of the Covenant, what it was, the power it held, and the mystery of where it went. To understand the Ark, you have to go back more than 3,000 years, to a people wandering in a desert and a mountain wrapped in fire. There, according to the scriptures, God gave his people the law, and the exact design for a single sacred object, to be built with great care. It was a chest, about the size of a large trunk, made of acacia wood and overlaid inside and out with pure gold. Its lid was a slab of solid gold called the mercy seat, and upon it stood 2 cherubim, golden angelic figures, their wings stretched toward one another, overshadowing the center. And in the empty space between those wings, the scriptures say, was the very place where God would meet his people. For golden rings were fixed to its corners, and poles of gilded wood slid through them, for no human hand was ever to touch the ark itself. Inside, it held the 2 stone tablets of the law. Later tradition says it also held a jar of manna, the desert bread, and the staff of Aaron that had miraculously bloomed. But the ark was never meant to be a mere container. It was a throne, the earthly footstool of an unseen God, and the meeting place between heaven and his people. It was placed in the heart of a sacred tent called the tabernacle, in a chamber so holy it was simply called the Holy of Holies. A thick woven veil hung before it. Behind that veil, no one could go, save one man, the high priest, and only once a year. To approach it carelessly was to die. This was not superstition to them, it was the terrifying, holy nearness of God himself. By day, a pillar of cloud rested over the sanctuary. By night, a pillar of fire. And when the cloud lifted, the people followed, the ark of God going before them. When it was time to move, the ark was lifted by its poles onto the shoulders of the priests, and carried out ahead of the entire nation. And what happened next became legend. For the ark did not just travel with an army, it fought like one. The nation came to the river Jordan, swollen and impassable, with a walled city waiting on the far side. There was no way across. But the moment the priests carrying the ark stepped into the water, the scriptures say the river stopped. The waters piled up in a heap, and the people crossed on dry ground. Then came Jericho. For 6 days, the people marched around its great walls in silence, the ark carried in their midst. On the 7th day, they marched 7 times, and then they shouted. And the walls of the city fell down flat. The ark's reputation spread far beyond Israel. Even its enemies came to fear the golden chest of the Hebrew God. In a later, darker chapter, the people grew presumptuous. They carried the ark into battle like a weapon, expecting it to save them, and it was captured by the Philistines. They carried it in triumph into the temple of their god Dagon, and set it beside his idol. By morning, the idol of Dagon had fallen on its face before the ark. They set it up again. The next morning it lay shattered, its head and hands broken off upon the threshold. A plague fell upon the Philistine cities wherever the ark was taken. After 7 months, terrified, they sent it back, with an offering of gold, just to be rid of it. For the ark was never a magic weapon to be used. It was holy, and holiness, they learned, is not to be trifled with. That lesson was carved into memory by one unforgettable moment. Years later, as the ark was being moved on a cart, the oxen stumbled. A man named Uzzah reached out his hand to steady the ark, to stop it from falling. He touched it, and he died on the spot. The scriptures do not present God as cruel here, but as holy beyond human casualness. The ark demanded reverence, not familiarity. So they learned again to carry it as commanded, on the shoulders of the Levites, with sacrifice, with song, and with trembling joy. At last a king named David brought the ark up to a hill that would become the most contested piece of ground on earth, Jerusalem. David longed to build the ark a permanent house, a temple worthy of the presence of God. But that task would fall to his son. His son was Solomon, and the temple he built was one of the wonders of the ancient world. Its inner sanctuary was overlaid entirely in gold, and there, in the deepest chamber, they placed the Ark of the Covenant beneath the wings of 2 great carved cherubim. And on the day it was set in place, the scriptures say a cloud of glory filled the temple so thickly that the priests could not even stand to serve. For a time, all was as it should be. The presence of God dwelt among his people, and the ark rested in the house built for it. But it would not last. And here the trail of the ark begins to grow dark. Over the centuries that followed, the nation turned away from God again and again. Prophets warned that judgment was coming, and it came. In the year 586 before Christ, the armies of Babylon breached the walls of Jerusalem, plundered the temple, and burned it to the ground. The Babylonians carried off everything of value, the golden vessels, the treasures, the bronze. Their records list it all in careful detail. But in that entire, meticulous inventory of plunder, one thing is never mentioned: the greatest treasure of all, the Ark of the Covenant. From that moment, the Ark disappears from history. No capture, no destruction, no burial recorded. It is simply gone. And for 2,500 years since, people have asked the same question: where did it go? One ancient tradition says a prophet named Jeremiah, warned of the coming destruction, took the ark before the fall and hid it in a cave on a lonely mountain, sealing it up until God should gather his people again. Others believe it was carried far south, to the highlands of Ethiopia, where to this day a church claims to guard it, watched over by a single guardian monk who may never leave, and whom no one else may ever see it. Some say it was taken to Babylon and lost among the ruins of empires. Others believe it still lies hidden in the tunnels and chambers beneath the very hill where the temple once stood. Every theory has its believers. None has ever been proven. The most sacred object in the history of a faith slipped out of the world and left no trace. And perhaps that silence is part of the point. Because the ark, for all its gold and glory, was never the true treasure. It was a sign, a pointer to something greater than itself. It marked the place where a holy God chose to dwell with an unholy people, where mercy covered the broken law beneath it, where heaven touched the earth. And the deeper story the scriptures tell is that this presence was never meant to stay locked behind a veil, in a box of gold, in one room, forever. It was always moving toward something, toward the day, as the scriptures put it, when God would dwell not in a tent or a temple, but among his people, and with them. So perhaps the mystery of the missing ark is not really a mystery of gold and hiding places at all. Perhaps the ark disappeared because its work was finished. The sign is gone, but the thing it pointed to remains. Even so, the wonder lingers. Somewhere, perhaps, sealed in a forgotten cave or a guarded sanctuary, the golden chest may still rest in the dark, waiting, silent, exactly as it was left. And the question it leaves us is not only where it went, but what it means that a holy God once came so close, and still desires to. The Ark of the Covenant, the most sacred object ever made, lost to history, but never quite forgotten.